It is a windy day over here at Liberal, Missouri. Dad's up on the log deck. Kevin's going to do some dragging from where I left off Tuesday. So many questions about Mike. Mike's in between jobs right now, and he called me, wanted to know if there was anything he could do. I said, yeah, he'd come hang out. I've actually got a couple jobs up north that I can use a good grunt man, so that's what Mike's job will be. Up there is we'll just send him kind of down there in those ditches, hooking choker cables, kind of speed things up there. Familiar things for Mike. We don't give him a saw or anything like that, or even let him run equipment. We just he's fun to have around, and when it comes to just kind of odds and ends, go fetch this, go fetch that, hook choker cables. That's what Mike's good at. But today we're gonna work on this little bunch of walnut up through here. The wind is blowing horribly bad. It's even down through here in this kind of draw. I look up and I see the tops moving a little bit, and that's not what I like to see when I'm cutting walnut, or any tree for that matter, but especially walnut. So we're gonna see how we get along, try to get some of these guys on the ground. I don't think Kevin will make it over in here today to drag, but I'd at least like to get a jump on it. We're kind of backing some good sized stuff here. Close together too is what I like, just tree after tree after tree. And this is just a little tributary ditch that runs into the bigger creek. But there seems to be a lot of walnut up this thing. It's a good tree here. We'll start with this one. It's got some dead limbs up there. It's gonna fall back here to the north. I'm gonna try to fall this one right on top of it. We're gonna fall that one right on top of these two. Just try to minimize our mess, work our way up the little branch here. As Mike stated yesterday, we get to work some pretty neat areas. We get to see a lot of pretty country. Every job's different. That's part of what makes this job so great, is all the different things, terrain, places we see, people we meet. I know I say that a lot in my videos, but it's true. It's you see a lot of unique stuff, like this old car down here in this creek. I meant to get a better look at that before I fell that tree in there, but I didn't realize when I was cutting that tree, this is where that car was. It's been in there a while. I know you can't tell much about it from that angle, but over here you can see a door. I have no idea what it is. I'm not really a car guy, especially an old car guy, but it's been there a while. Just rock formations like this, neat stuff. When I used to trap, I dreamed of places like that to set traps for coon and mink. I'm sure the occasional otter runs up through here. Just a neat area. Now, like that top there, we'll pull it out of the creek. I'm not even gonna cut this tree off yet because we'll pull the whole thing out of there. And really just the top, which will take this all the way up there. But if you were to leave something like this here, this is a natural bridge for wildlife. If I was still in my trapping days, or anybody that is trapping that follows the channel, you guys know that things like this are a good place for snare, or, if allowed in your state, conibears for coons, cats, fox, everything crosses that stuff. So we're gonna venture on up the creek here and try to find a few more to cut. I already see a few big ones on up here. Just work our way on up. It's a good little group. They got their problems though, right there. It's not high grade for a lot of reasons. Pretty sappy. Got a good size to it. Sappy, of course you see those pin knots, but it's still a good log. There. That's not good. That's not what we like to see. There. Good trees. Good trees. This one here, it had a bad lightning seam on the back side. And it's showing it in the wood there. Still a good sized tree, have a lot of lumber material in it. Same with that there. We'll pull it across the creek before we cut it off. Of course, we were already, this is that little ditch, but we were on the other side cutting there. We're just zigzagging back and forth. We got another good tall one to bring down here. Of course, there's one right there behind it I've cut. Then they just kind of go up through here. Yeah. Fair sized trees. I'm going to tighten my chain real quick. Getting a little loose, and we're going to get back at it. In the afternoon, We're up here at Harrisonville, Missouri, looking at a tract of timber. And as you can hear me, the interstate's right there. I think it's the first time I've ever looked at timber right on the interstate. I've drove by this spot countless times over the years. Supposed to be some pretty good walnut in here, but I'm not seeing any walnut. I'm seeing a lot of cottonwood. A lot of big cottonwood, but a lot of cottonwood nonetheless. So you can kind of look here behind me. Tree there, it's my paint slash on it. There is a decent tree here in front of me. I'll flip you around. Pretty good stick of wood here. Got a hard lean. Probably dig down on that a little bit, judging by the looks of it. Somebody has marked these trees before. I think that's a 21. Fairly old paint. Love's truck stops right there. There's a pair up there I've already marked. I'm kind of backtracking now from where I've already been. And I'll show you guys something pretty neat I found here a minute ago, which for the hunters, I guess it's pretty neat. It doesn't do much for me, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Let's see if we can find it again. Here it is, right here. Seen that? Pretty good 10 point here. Rack still intact. Yeah, pretty good deer. Not a deer hunter. I see there's a deer stand just right over here, so I don't know if somebody's shot and wounded one, or if it's got here from getting hit on the interstate and come here and died. Looks like the coyotes have had a heyday with it. And again, that's a pretty good deer, but that stuff don't interest me too much. I'm not much of a hunter. I'm always worried about what other dead things I might find looking at timber in areas like this next to a truck stop. I probably watched too much TV growing up. Now looking on the forest floor here, I see all kinds of a array of leaves. I see bur oak, sycamore, some pin oak, of course cottonwood, or some Mikey's kind of in the background. White walnut, as we got to telling him. Mike always used to, when we were working up north here, he always thought these cottonwood were walnut, and they do have some similarities, but Mike would always talk about these big walnut we'd see him to walk an area and they'd always be cottonwood, so we just got calling them white walnut, and kind of a joke we played on Mike. But a lot of big cottonwood, a lot of them. Again here with the cottonwood than the walnut. Like I said, they do have some similarities, but I don't know. You know, some people are not around the timber business too much. I mean, I could see where you get them confused, because in a distance, there's been a lot of times I've walked a lot of steps because I thought I've seen big walnut in the distance, and you get down there and it's cottonwood. A few decent trees down here closer to the creek. Looks like there's some decent ones on the other side. Some ash down here. See a few maple, box elder. And there's got a white paint mark on it where somebody's looked at him. Tall, straight tree. That thing's been hit by lightning or something. Not too terribly long ago, in the last year or so. It's got a cat face down here. Another issue right there. Some old paint on it right there. Just a big old rough lumber log. A lot of footage though. It's kind of a neat place to be looking at timber. I think that's the door to the motel. It's a big bur oak. Coons, squirrels, possums, orangutans, hippopotamuses, they all live in there. Especially a hole that big. It's a big bur oak. It's a shame it ain't no good. Probably cut a log out of that. It's probably still got a good log in it. Looks like somebody's tried cutting that before. That's come from something. So let's fool around here. There's been some trees cut in here, which the landowner had told me that for a phone call yesterday. He said there'd, and I don't know if it was just a misunderstanding in property lines or if somebody tried to take them or what it was. That I don't know. I try to stay out of that. That's none of my business as far as that goes. What happened prior. That's why we paint everything and try to be very transparent with everybody, where there's no mistakes made. But, he did tell me the name of the company that was responsible for this or did this, or like I said, again, however it played out. And I know the name. I will not repeat it, like I said, because I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just a misunderstanding, if they got property lines mixed up, if there was, if they actually tried to take them. Don't know. That's, again, I try to stay out of that part of it. I'm just here to buy trees. Just here to buy trees. But I will say, one of the names involved, they did comment on one of our Facebook posts here not long ago, kind of giving us a hard time, so isn't that interesting? The plot thickens. I would say there's actually been either a police or a Department of Conservation investigation on this for timber theft, the way it looks. Usually when you see little tags like that numbering the trees that are cut, it's a pretty good indication of what happened here. And again, I don't know. Could have been mixed signal somewhere. Don't know. But they've been a couple years anyway. But there were some really good trees in here. I see another stump out here. Let's go see. Take a look at this one real quick. I'm kind of getting off track, but it's not like I'm busy or anything. Yep, right there. Number 3. Huh. That is interesting. Some good young trees growing in here. I guess we're trying to be positive.